Hi everyone, today we're still going to continue on the topic on decimals, focusing mainly on comparing and ordering decimals. Let's take a look at the first question. Number 1, fill in the blanks to express each number as a fraction and a decimal. This is to recap the place values of decimals. Okay, do take note that if you are to express it as a fraction, you got to write it as a proper fraction or a mixed number. Let's take a look at part B. You are given a fraction and you're supposed to write the decimal. So first, 1 whole, so we write 1 point something. Now, to decide how many decimal places, we look at the denominator. It's a 10. How many zeros are there in a 10? There are 1 0, so it's 1 decimal place. What is the number in this 1 decimal place? We have to look at the numerator. Is a number 3. So the answer for part B is simply 1.3. Let's go on to part C. We have the whole as 6, so it's 6 point something. To decide the number of decimal places, we look at the denominator is 100. How many zeros are there in 100? There are 2 zeros, so there should be 2 decimal places. So to decide the number in the decimal places, we look at the numerator. It is 42. So over here, we should write down 42 as the answer. The answer should be a 6.42. Very straightforward. Now let's go on to look at part E. We are given the decimal. We are supposed to write it as a fraction. So whenever we are given a decimal, it would be good if we label the place value chart. In front of the decimal point is the ones place. Straight after the decimal point, we have the tenths place, followed by the hundredths place. Okay, so in this case, we first look at the whole. How many wholes are there? There are 3 wholes, so 3. What is the smallest place value in this decimal? Smallest place value is 100, so denominator will be out of 100. Okay, then we look at the decimal. Wholes we have already taken out. From the 100th place, what is the remaining number? 67. So the answer for part E is simply 3 whole, 67 hundredths. Now let's go on to look at part F. You are given a decimal, so same thing. We should label the place value chart, which you should be very familiar with it by now. Okay, so how many wholes are there in this decimal? 2 wholes, so 2 wholes. What is the smallest place value in this decimal? It's 1,000, so it's out of 1,000. So 2 wholes we have already taken out. Look at the remaining number. How many thousands are there? There is only 5 thousandths. Please take note, the zeros in front of the 5 is not necessary to write it down. So the answer for part F is simply 2 wholes, 5 thousandths. Let's go on to look at question number 2. In the number 1.029, fill in the blanks. So same thing, given a number or a decimal, we should always label the place value chart. So in this case, let's label. We have the ones, the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousandths place. Okay, part A, 0.1 more than 1.029 is what? So we label. More than means plus, is means equal. So 0.1, the 1 is in the tenths place, so we focus on a digit in the tenths place. 0 plus 1 is 1. The other digit remain the same. So my answer should be 1.129 for part A. Moving on to part B. What is 0.01 less than 1.029? So same thing, we are going to label. Less than means minus, is means equal. So in 0.01, the digit 1 is in the hundredths place. So from a number 2, you minus 1, it becomes a number 1. The other digit remain the same. So your answer for part B should be 1.019. Let's go on to part C. 0.001 more than 1.029 is blank. So same thing, more than means plus, is means equal. The digit 1 in 0.001 is in the thousandths place. So we focus on a digit in the thousands place, that is digit 9. 9 plus 1 gives a 10. So we need to regroup. 29 becomes a 30. So your answer should be 1.030. And finally, we look at part D. What is 0.001 less than 1.029? So same thing, we're going to label. Less than means minus, is means equal. So in 0.001, the digit 1 is in the thousands place. So we focus on a digit in the thousands place, that is the number 9. 9 minus 1 gives a 8. So your answer should be 1.028. All the other digits remain the same. Let's go on to look at question number 3, that is ordering decimals. Okay, so for question 3A and 3B, we are supposed to arrange the decimals from the greatest to the smallest. Okay, and we are given 4 decimals. Okay, so this 4 decimals is very important that we look at what the smallest place value is and the largest place value. Okay, so it's to 2 decimal places. Okay, and for the whole number is also to up to the tens place. So I draw up my place value chart. The largest place value is tens, followed by ones, followed by my dot. After the dot is the tenths place, followed by the hundredths place. Do I need to draw the thousandths? No, because it's maximum until 2 decimal places. Okay, so now I put in the numbers 3.5, 33.5. The next one is the dot is here, so it's 3.05. And the last one, the dot is here, is a 3.35. Okay, so if you want to compare decimals, all the other blanks, you can actually fill it with zeros. But do take note, when you write down the answer, you cannot include the zeros in your final answer. Okay, so let's compare, focusing on the greatest first. Okay, so we need to start from the greatest place value, which is the tens place. So compare the digits in the tens place, which is the greatest number? Digit 3. So we have found our greatest decimal, that is 33.5. Do I write a 0? No, I don't, because in the question there is no 0. So 33.5 gone. Okay, after we write, we cancel. Now let's go on and find the next greatest decimal. Compare the tens place again. They are all zeros. Can we compare? No, we cannot. So we go on to the tens, to the ones place. In the ones place, can we compare the numbers? 3, 3, 3. Which is the greatest? I cannot compare because they are the same. So I go on to the tenths place. Which is the greatest number? Digit 5. So this is the second greatest number. So when I write the number, do I write 03.50? No, I just write what is given in the question, that is 3.5. So this is done. This is done. Okay, then go on to find the next greatest number. So same thing, you start to compare from the tens place. Between 0 and 0, can you compare? No. You move on to the ones place. Between 3 and 3, can you compare? Oh, you cannot. So you go to the 10th place. Between 0 and 3, can you compare? Yes. Which is greater? 3 is greater. So this is the next greater decimal. Okay, so look at the question. How do you write the number given from the question? It is 3.35. Do not add in the 0 in front unnecessarily. Okay, so this is done. And therefore the smallest decimal in this question is 3.05. After we have written, remember to cancel. So this is the answer for part A. Let's go on to look at part B. We are given same thing, 4 decimals, and we're supposed to write down starting from the greatest decimal. Okay, so keep a lookout for the smallest place value is until 2 decimal places. So the smallest place value will be hundredths, and the greatest place value will be the tens place. So same thing, we're going to draw up the place value chart. Tens, ones, put in a decimal point, followed by the tenths, and finally the hundredths. There is no need for the thousandth because the smallest place value is up to 2 decimal places. Okay, so now put in the decimals, the dot, 15.03. So 15.03 followed by 31.05. So 31.05 followed by 30.51 followed by dot 15.3. So whatever is empty, we fill it with a 0. But do we write it in our final answer? We do not write it in our final answer. Okay, so from here we can begin, keeping in mind we want the greatest decimal. Let's start from the greatest place value. Between 1 and 3 and 3 and 1, which are greatest? 3 and 3 are greatest, so we focus on this. Okay, then we go on to the ones place. 1 and 0, which is greater? 1 is greater. Okay, so we have found our greatest decimal. Okay, that is 31.05. After writing, remember to cancel. Now let's go on to find the second greatest decimal. Same thing, we start to compare from the tens place. You compare 1, 3, 1. Which is the greatest? 3 is the greatest. So we found our second greatest decimal, that is 30.51. After writing, remember to cancel. Now let's go on and find our third greatest decimal, starting from the tens place. 1 and 1, can you compare? No. We go on to the ones place. Between 5 and 5, can you compare? We cannot because they are the same. So we cannot. We go on to the tenths place. Between 0 and 3, which is greater? 3 is greater. So this is the next greatest decimal. Okay, from the question is written as 15.3. Can we write a 0 at the back? No, we cannot because it's not in the question. So the answer is 15.3, and therefore the smallest decimal from the question will have to be 15.03. So this is the answer to question number 3B. With that, we end the worksheet. Thank you.